Hello everyone, I'm Xiao Yue from Susan's family. Today, I'm going to introduce a versatile brooch to you all. It's the Cactus version. It has multiple functions. Attach a brooch clasp and it can be used as a brooch. Add a magnet and it can be used as a fridge magnet. Pair it with a paperclip and it can be used as a bookmark. You can also attach a thumbtack for use as a note holder. And it comes with a leather cord. It can be made into a necklace or bracelet. If you need to purchase the original materials kit and receive crocheting guidance, please search for the store Susan's family to reach the shop directly. Now, let's get started. This brooch comes in 4 different shapes. They are shape 1, shape 2, shape 3, and shape 4. The accessories are further divided into functional accessories and decorative accessories. Our kit includes 3 types of functional accessories: brooch pins, magnets, and leather cords. You can also add paper clips and thumbtacks to give them more functions. When making the 4 shapes, you start by crocheting the main piece first, using the same crocheting method. After completion, sew together the main piece and attach the accessories. The main piece is divided into a pot and a cactus. The pot is further divided into the bottom of the pot and the top of the pot. Let's start by learning how to make the bottom of the pot. Refer to the chart. We will start the bottom of the pot with the foundation chain and crochet in rounds counterclockwise from there. The stitches used include chains, CH, single crochet, SC, single crochet increase, SC 2 in 1, single crochet stripe stitch, and slip stitch, SL. Next, I will demonstrate the specific crocheting method. Before we start crocheting, let's learn the proper posture for crocheting. To make it easier for everyone to see clearly, I will use thicker yarn for this demonstration. The colors are random for all the specific yarns used in subsequent crocheting, color schemes, and hook sizes. Please refer to the detail page of our product and the paper instructions. First, we start with a slip knot. Hold the yarn tail with your right hand. Wrap the yarn around your left little finger. Pass it through between your middle finger and index finger. Then pinch the yarn tail with your thumb and middle finger. Pick up the crochet hook with your right hand. Move the hook between these 2 points. Place the hook underneath the yarn and wrap the yarn counterclockwise around it. With your left thumb and middle finger, pinch the crossing point of the loop. Place the hook above the yarn. Yarn over and draw the yarn through the loop. This slip knot does not count as a stitch. Pull tight directly. Pay attention to the loop on the hook. Don't pull it too tight, or it will be difficult to work the next stitch. Now start crocheting chain stitches. Yarn over and draw the yarn through. 1 chain stitch is completed. This V shape formed by the slip stitch counts as 1 stitch. Continue crocheting chain stitches. Yarn over and draw the yarn through. This is the 2nd stitch. Repeat this process. Continue crocheting chain stitches. Here you need to crochet 5 chain stitches. We continue crocheting down. 3rd stitch. 4th stitch. 5th stitch. Look. This is what it looks like after completing the foundation chain. Next, we will crochet the first round. Start with a chain of 1 as the turning chain for the single crochet. The turning chain does not count as a stitch. To make it less noticeable, we'll tighten this stitch slightly. Next, crochet 1 single crochet. Pick up with the hook from right to left. through the back loop of the second chain stitch. It's this strand of yarn. Yarn over and draw the yarn through. Now there are 2 loops on the hook. Yarn over again, and draw through both loops. 1 single crochet is now completed. This is the first stitch. After completing, continue on the next chain stitch on the left side, and crochet 1 single crochet. Pick up with the hook through the back loop of the adjacent chain stitch. Yarn over and draw the yarn through. Now there are 2 loops on the hook. Yarn over and draw through both loops in once. Another single crochet is now completed. Now we have completed 2 single crochets. Continue on the remaining chain stitches on the left side, working 1 single crochet into each stitch. Keep going all the way to the second to last chain on the left. After completing, on the last chain stitch, crochet 2 single crochets first. Then rotate the turning chain a bit. Insert the hook into the same space, which means picking up the 2 remaining strands of the starting chain. Crochet 1 single crochet. So, we have crocheted 3 single crochets in this space. Next, on each foundation chain on the left side, continue to pick up these 2 strands, which is where the previous single crochet was inserted. Work 1 single crochet into each stitch. Keep going until the second to last chain. Here, you can place the starting yarn tail above the crochet hook. Hide the yarn tail as you crochet. After completing, work 2 single crochets into the last stitch. Along with the starting stitch, we have crocheted 3 single crochets in this space, matching up with the other end. If there's any remaining starting yarn tail at this point, you can cut it off directly. After completing, you can check the stitch count. Let's take a look. Each of these counts as 1 stitch. It corresponds to a V-shaped loop above. This also represents the stitch of a single crochet. The number of these stitches is the number of single crochets you have worked. Here, everyone should refer to the charts and check the stitch count. Pay attention to avoid extra or missing stitches. Next, let's take a look at this. On the left side, there is a smaller braid. This is the turning chain. The turning chain does not count as a stitch. Here you skip it and crochet directly into the next braid. Here you need to make a slip stitch. Insert the hook into the stitch. Yarn over. Draw the yarn through. And pull through all loops on the hook at once. This completes the slip stitch. Let's take a look. This is the braid formed by the slip stitch. The slip stitch does not count as a stitch. To make it less noticeable, and to prevent adding extra stitches later, we will tighten it directly. After this, the first round is completed. Next, we will work on the second round. Start with the foundation chain as the turning chain. The turning chain does not count as a stitch. Tighten it. For all subsequent turning chains, make sure to tighten them slightly. I won't repeat this in the following steps. Next, insert the hook into the next stitch below and work a single crochet increase. The method for a single crochet increase is to work 2 single crochets into the same stitch. Insert the hook into the stitch below. One stitch. 2 stitches. This completes 1 single crochet increase. Next, work 3 single crochets into each corresponding stitch below. 1, 2, 3. After completing these, work 3 more single crochet increase. Let me demonstrate the method for a single crochet increase again. A single crochet increase is worked by making 2 single crochets into the same stitch. Crochet 2 single crochets. This completes 1 single crochet increase. Continue working downwards. Next, work 3 single crochets into each corresponding stitch below. Then work 2 more single crochet increases downwards. After completing these, let's take a look. On the left side, there are 2 smaller braids. This is from the slip stitch of the previous round. This is the turning chain of this round. Do not crochet on top of these. This prevents adding extra stitches. Next, pick the larger braid on the left side. This is the first stitch of this round. Make a slip stitch. The slip stitch does not count as a stitch. It needs to be tightened. All subsequent slip stitches should also be tightened. I won't repeat this in the following steps. This completes the second round. Next, let's learn how to crochet the third round. In this round, we will work striped single crochets. Start with the foundation chain as the turning chain. Tighten it. Then pick up the first stitch from below. Work into the back loop, which is farther from you. This means working a single crochet into the back loop only. This is the striped single crochet stitch. The method is similar to a single crochet. The difference is just in the position where you pick up the stitches. Continue to pick up the back loop and work a single crochet. The crochet pattern for this round is to work striped single crochets, corresponding 1 by 1. Work into the back loops only. Continue crocheting downward. After completing this round, skip the slip stitch and turning chain. Join with a slip stitch in the first stitch. Tighten it. This completes the third round. Next, I'll show you how to distinguish the right side and the wrong side. The side with clearer texture on the fabric is the right side. The other side, which has a relatively blurrier texture, is the wrong side. During the crocheting process, the right side should always face you. For the following rounds, refer to the method used in round 2 to complete rounds 4 through 7. At the beginning of each round, start with a foundation chain as the turning chain. Make sure to pull this turning chain tight. Then follow the pattern chart to work the corresponding number of single crochets and single crochet increases. At the end of each round, make a slip stitch. Make sure to pull this slip stitch tight as well. While crocheting, pay attention to checking the stitch count. Here, I will use a pre-made sample swatch to show you how to count rounds. On the right side of the fabric, you can see these rounds of raised textures. The number of these texture rounds indicates how many rounds you have crocheted. You can count upwards from the turning chain. Up to this point, we have completed the first 7 rounds. Next, we will work on the 8th round. Start with a foundation chain as the turning chain. Pull it tight. Then turn the workpiece counterclockwise. Insert the hook into the back loop of the next stitch on the left side. It's just one strand of yarn. Work single crochets. The pattern for this round of crochet is to work single crochets into each stitch. The difference is, you need to insert the hook into the back loop, which is farther from you, to crochet. Continue crocheting. Now you have reached the last stitch. Note that the last stitch is smaller. Don't miss it. Finish with a slip stitch in the first stitch. Cut the yarn. Hide the yarn tail on the wrong side. This is what it looks like after completing round 8. Up to this point, the crocheting of the bottom of the pot is done. Next, let's learn how to crochet the top of the pot. The starting method for the top of the pot is the same as the bottom. Use a foundation chain to start. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise from the starting chain. The crocheting method can refer to the bottom of the pot. At the beginning of each round, start with a chain stitch as the turning chain. The turning chain needs to be tightened. Then, refer to the chart and follow a specific increasing pattern, crocheting single crochets and single crochet increases. Finally, make a slip stitch in the first stitch. The slip stitch should also be tightened. The method is relatively simple. I won't demonstrate this part here. After completion, leave about 50 centimeters of yarn tail for sewing. Up to this point, the pot's creation is finished. Next, let's learn how to crochet a cactus. The cactus consists of a main stem and secondary stems. Let me explain first the shapes of the main and secondary stems, and the number that needs to be crocheted. For cactus number 1, you only need to crochet 1 main stem. Cactus number 2, requires crocheting 1 secondary stem and 1 main stem. Cactus number 3 requires crocheting 2 secondary stems and 1 main stem. Cactus number 4 requires crocheting 2 secondary stems and 1 main stem. Here, I will use cactus number 4 as an example to demonstrate. The crochet method for the other cacti is the same as for cactus number 4. The specific stitch count and round count are different. I will first demonstrate the crochet method for the secondary stem. Let's look at the table. In the table, our plus number indicates the round number. The column for increases and decreases explanation shows the stitch techniques needed when crocheting the current round, as well as the increase or decrease in stitches. The total stitches column shows the stitch count for the current round. The total stitch count after completing all the crochet techniques. The stitch techniques used include X single crochet, V single crochet increase, a single crochet decrease, chain stitch, and slip stitch. Next, I will demonstrate the specific crochet method. First, we start with the foundation chain. Here we use the magic ring method. Pick up the yarn with your right hand. Wrap the yarn twice around your left index finger. Pinch all the loops above your left index finger with your right hand. Remove the loops from your left index finger. Transfer the loop to between your left middle finger and thumb. Pick up the crochet hook with your right hand. Insert into the loop. Yarn over. Draw the yarn through. Then hook a chain stitch to secure. Pull tight. This is what it looks like after completing the starting chain. Next, we will work on the first round. In the chart, R1 indicates 6x, which means making 6 single crochets. Start with a chain as the turning chain for the single crochet. Pull tight. Then work single crochets into the starting ring. After completing, let's close the starting ring. Gently pull the yarn tail with your right hand. You can see that there is a loop moving. Pull tight the moving loop. There is one loop remaining. Directly pull tight the yarn tail. This way, the starting ring is closed. Continue to complete the first round. Skip the turning chain. Join with a slip stitch on the first stitch on the left side. Pull tight. This completes the first round. Now let's move on to the second round. In the table, R2 is V, X, *3. The parentheses indicate a group. *3 means to repeat this group 3 times. Start with a turning chain. Then work a single crochet increase. While crocheting, hide in the starting tail. Work a single crochet downwards. Pay attention to hide the tail. 1VX is now completed. Follow this pattern to finish this round. If there's any remaining starting tail at this point, you can cut it directly. Finally, skip the turning chain and slip stitch, and join with a slip stitch on the first stitch. Tighten. After completing, turn the right side towards yourself. Pay attention during the crocheting process. The right side should always face you. The second round is completed. Now let's move on to the third round. In the chart, R3 indicates 9x, which means work 9 single crochets evenly. Start with a turning chain. Work a single crochet downwards. After completing, you can refer to the chart to check the stitch count. The method can be referenced from the previous demonstration. I won't go over it again here. Finally, join with a slip stitch in the first stitch. This completes the third round. Now move on to the fourth round. R4 is X*3, which means work 1 single crochet decrease. Then work 1 single crochet. Repeat this a total of 3 times. Start with a foundation chain as the turning chain. Tighten it. Then work a single crochet decrease. Insert the hook under the 2 loops on the left side. Work an incomplete single crochet. Insert the hook into the stitch. Yarn over. Draw the yarn through. This is an incomplete single crochet. Next, insert the hook into the left stitch. Work an incomplete single crochet. Now there are 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over, and draw through once. This completes the single crochet decrease. Next, insert the hook into the left stitch, and work a single crochet. 1AX is now complete. Follow this pattern to finish this round. Let me demonstrate this again. Start with a single crochet decrease. Pick up the left 2 stitches. Work an incomplete single crochet in each of them. Now there are 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over, and draw through once. This completes the single crochet decrease. Continue working down. Finally, join with a slip stitch in the first stitch. After completing, leave a tail of about 20 centimeters for sewing. This is secondary stem of the cactus number 4. This is what it looks like when completed. All subsequent cactus crochet work can refer to the demonstrated method above. The specific stitch count and round numbers can be found in the chart. Pay attention to the secondary stem of cactus number 2. Break the yarn immediately after completing it. After finishing the main stem, do not break the yarn. For the remaining 3 cactus secondary stems, you can leave about 20 centimeters of yarn tail for sewing. For the main stem, leave about 30 centimeters of yarn tail for sewing. Up to this point, the crochet instructions for the cactus are completed. Next, we will learn how to sew together the cactus shape. Here, I will first use a sample to demonstrate the assembly of cactus number 1. For cactus number 1, you need to sew it into a cross shape. First, thread the reserved yarn tail through a sewing needle. Then, pinch the bottom of the fabric piece to form a cross shape. Try to keep the yarn tail in the middle. Sew the middle part together on the wrong side with the needle. And slightly tighten it. Next, sew any 2 opposite sides together. Following the texture of the fabric. Just sew it together round by round as you go down. Keep sewing all the way to the bottom. Pay attention to slightly tighten the yarn tail. After completing this, continue to sew the remaining 2 sides. Remember to slightly tighten the yarn tail. Don't cut the yarn tail here. Tidy it up a bit. This is the shape of cactus number 1. This is what it looks like when the sewing is completed. Next, I'll demonstrate using a sample swatch. The sewing for the shape of cactus number 2. For this shape sewing, it is done through crocheting to connect the main stem and the secondary stem. Now, watch me demonstrate. First, make 1 turning chain. Then work a single crochet decrease. Start by working an incomplete single crochet into the first stitch of the main stem. Next, pick up the first stitch of the secondary stem. That is, join with a slip stitch into the adjacent stitch. Work an incomplete single crochet. Then yarn over and draw through all loops on the hook. The first stitch is now complete. Continue by picking up stitches along the secondary stem. Work 7 single crochets, corresponding 1 by 1. While crocheting, pay attention to hide the yarn tail. Trim off any excess tails. After completing, pick up the last stitch of the secondary stem and work into the second stitch of the main stem. Work a single crochet decrease. First, work an incomplete single crochet in each. Then yarn over and draw through all loops on the hook. Continue to work single crochets, corresponding one by one. Keep going until you finish this round. Up to this point, the first round is completed. For the following rounds, refer to the method used in the first round. Finish the remaining 3 rounds. At the beginning of each round, work a single crochet decrease at the beginning. Then work 7 single crochets. Follow with another single crochet decrease. Continue to work single crochets, corresponding one by one. I will not demonstrate further from here. After completing, leave about 30 centimeters of yarn tail for sewing. Next, I'll demonstrate the stuffing process using a sample swatch. Stuff the cotton filling through this hole. You can use a crochet hook to help insert the stuffing. This ensures it is firmly and evenly stuffed. This is what it looks like after completing shape 2. Next, I'll demonstrate the sewing for shape 3, using a sample swatch. First, stuff the main stem with cotton to make it full. This is what it looks like after the stuffing is completed. The secondary stems do not need to be stuffed. Then sew together the main stem and secondary stems of the cactus. Before sewing, you need to shape the secondary stems first. Next, I'll use a sample swatch to demonstrate the shaping method. Let's take a look. Here you can see many small horizontal bars forming a line. This is created by slip stitches. First, face the side of the stem. Without slip stitch marks towards yourself, thread the reserved yarn tail into a sewing needle. Then come out the needle from the middle of the 3rd round and the 4th round from the end. Hold the secondary stem horizontally in your hands, with the starting point facing left. Use the sewing needle to pick up 2 loops of the left single crochet stitch. And draw through. Then pick up 2 loops of the second single crochet stitch from the right. And pull tight. Adjust slightly with your hands to give the stem a bent shape. So it secures a secondary stem. Follow these steps to complete the shaping of the other secondary stem. Pay attention to maintaining symmetry in the bends of both secondary stems. This is what the shape of secondary stem looks like when completed. Next, sew the secondary stems onto the main stem. Take the 2 secondary stems and sew them staggered on either side of the main stem, slightly towards the middle. And ensure that the 2 secondary stems are bent towards the main stem. Now, watch me demonstrate. Here, I will still use the previously left yarn tail of the secondary stem for sewing. Make sure the slip stitch marks on the main stem face the back. Then, draw the thread through the opening of the secondary stem. Place the opening at the corresponding position on the main stem. Pick up the last round of stitches from the bottom of the secondary stem, and sew them together one by one. Finally, hide in the yarn tails. Next, follow this method to sew the other secondary stem. Let's take a look. This is the shape of number 3. What it looks like when the sewing is done. Let me explain the sewing process. For shape number 4 next. For shape number 4, the secondary stems are sewn onto the upper right corner and the lower left corner of the main stem. When sewing, first ensure the main stem is firmly stuffed. Then, place the opening side of the secondary stem towards the main stem. Place them in the corresponding positions. Pay attention to aligning the main stem and secondary stem with the slip stitch marks facing the back. Use the reserved yarn tail from the secondary stem for sewing. Finally, hide the yarn tails. The method is quite simple, so I won't demonstrate it here. Up to this point, the cactus shape is completed. Next, I will demonstrate the sewing of the main body. First, sew the cactus to the top of the pot. For shape 1, align the cross-shaped side of the cactus with the right side of the pot's top for sewing. The sewing method is the same for the other 3 shapes. Let's take a look. The top of the pot is oval-shaped. When sewing, place the opening of the cactus in the middle position on the top of the pot. Position the cactus like this. Arrange the main stem and secondary stem horizontally along the direction of the starting chain. Here, I'll demonstrate the method using shape 3 as an example. Let me show you how it's done. Use the reserved yarn tail to sew downwards. Insert the sewing needle into the top of the pot. Then pick up the single crochet stitches at the opening of the cactus and sew them to the corresponding position on the top of the pot. Follow the shape of the cactus opening as you sew it onto the top of the pot. Finally, hide the yarn tail. This is what it looks like after sewing is complete. Next, everyone refers to the demonstration just now and follow the shape of the bottom of the cactus to complete the sewing for the remaining 3 shapes. Up to this point, the explanation for sewing the cactus to the top of the pot is completed. Now let's move on to learn how to sew the top of the pot to the bottom of the pot. Here, I'll demonstrate using shape 3. Let's first distinguish between the front and back of the pot and the cactus. Hold the cactus like this, with the secondary stems lower on the left and higher on the right. The side facing us now is the front of the cactus. Next, let's look at the bottom of the pot. There is a slip stitch mark here. Place it towards the left rear. Now, the side facing us is the front. Here we sew them together by pick up the stitches from the top of the pot and the remaining half stitches from the 7th round at the bottom of the pot. Use the yarn reserved at the top of the pot for sewing. First, orient the cactus and the pot with their fronts facing you. Then place the top of the pot into the 7th round at the bottom, aligning their shapes. Since the stitch count of these 2 rounds does not match, you need to adjust while sewing. Next, pick up the sewing needle with your right hand. Insert it into the first stitch at the top of the pot. And come out through the corresponding half stitch at the bottom of the pot. Sew the first stitch twice more to make it more secure. Then pick up the adjacent stitch on the left and sew it together with its corresponding half stitch. Continue by sewing the 3rd stitch. The 4th stitch. After completing, insert the needle back into the 4th stitch and pick up the half stitch on the left side at the bottom of the pot, which is the 5th half stitch, to sew together. Continue to sew the next 4 stitches one by one in sequence. Then insert the needle back into the 4th stitch and pick up the 5th half stitch for sewing. Here, after we sew 4 stitches one by one, we need to pick up an additional half stitch to sew with the 4th stitch at the top of the pot. Continue sewing following this method. When you reach the middle, stuff in the cotton stuffing. Note that you can now place the magnet between the cotton and the fabric. Make sure it does not get wrapped inside the cotton. If you want to attach a thumbtack, you can also follow the same method. After completing, continue sewing. At the last stitch, sew twice more. There's no need to break the yarn here. This is what it looks like after completing the main body sewing. The sewing methods for the other 3 shapes of pots are the same as the sewing method for cactus number 3. I won't demonstrate this here. Up to this point, the sewing of the main body is completed. Next, let's learn how to attach the accessories. We'll start with the decorative accessories. These are made up of seed beads and flowers. I'll first demonstrate how to attach the seed beads. For the first shape, the seed beads are attached to the 4 protrusions on the cactus. For the other 3 shapes, the seed beads are randomly attached to the surface of the cactus. Here, I'll demonstrate using a small sample. Since the seed beads are very small, you need to use a finer sewing needle and thread for sewing. First, choose thread that matches the color of the cactus, about 20 centimeters in length. Here, I'll demonstrate using cotton yarn. The colors are random. Split the thread. Pull out one strand for sewing. Insert the thread. Leave a little end of the thread outside. Then pick up a seed bead. Insert from the previous hole. Exit from any hole. This way, you have sewn on one seed bead. I'll demonstrate this a few more times. Sew on an appropriate number of seed beads using this method. Since all 4 shapes require seed beads, you can allocate the number of seed beads evenly, according to your own needs. After completing, exit the thread from the initial hole. Tie off the yarn tail. Use a crochet hook to hide the yarn tail. This way, the seed beads are sewn on. You can refer to this method to complete the installation of seed beads for the remaining shapes. Now, I will demonstrate how to attach the flowers. Here, I will use cactus number 3 as an example. The flowers are attached at the connection between the secondary stem and the main stem. Let's take a look at the flower. The side with diamonds is the front side. The other side is the back side. Apply glue on the back side of the flower. Attach it to the corresponding position. Press it with your hands for a while. Wait for the glue to dry. This is what the flower looks like after it has been attached. Next, I will explain how to attach the flowers for the other 3 cactus shapes. For shape number 1, the flower is attached at the top of the cactus. Shape number 2 is attached at the top of the secondary stem. Shape number 4 is attached near the secondary stem at the top of the main stem. The method is quite simple, so I won't go through a full demonstration. Up to this point, the attachment of decorative accessories has been explained. Now I will demonstrate the installation of functional accessories. First, I will show you how to attach a brooch clasp. I'll use shape number 3 as an example. The brooch clasp is sewn onto the back of the main stem, in the middle but slightly lower position. Place the brooch clasp vertically in the corresponding position, with the pin side facing downward. Then, sew the remaining part of the thread. Insert the sewing needle. Move the yarn to the hole below the brooch clasp. Draw through. Insert from the right side of the hole into the fabric piece. Then exit from the same hole. Insert again from the left side of the hole. Exit from another hole. The sewing method for this hole is the same as the previous one. To secure the brooch clasp more firmly, you can sew a few more times using the same method. I won't demonstrate this here. Finally, hide the yarn tail. This way, the brooch clasp is securely attached. Next, let me introduce the attachment positions for the other shaped brooch clasps. For shape number 1, you can attach the brooch clasp vertically, behind and slightly below the cactus. Shape number 2 can be attached horizontally at, behind and slightly below the cactus. For shape number 4, it can also be attached horizontally at a lower position. The specific sewing method can refer to the previous demonstration. Up to this point, the explanation of attaching the brooch clasp is completed. Finally, let me introduce the installation of the leather cord. The leather cord needs to have the small silver ring installed in a suitable position first. Then pass the leather cord through the small ring. Cut it to the appropriate length. Finally, tie a knot and it's done. If you have a paperclip at home, you can also add a paperclip to the bottom of the fabric. Up to this point, the making of the cactus brooch is entirely completed. If you have any unclear parts during the crocheting process, please contact our customer service. Susan's family, supporting your handwork experience, sharing the joy of life. Thank you all for watching. See you next time.